think we're just gonna start off like that. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Panelcast once again, Richard from Chaos Collectibles, along with my partner on this journey, who apparently is
I don't know.
Lost in reality.
I'm sober this episode, so. Hey everybody, it's AJ from Forbidden Panel, and before we get started, I wanted to show off the shirt from T-Villain. Again, T-Villain. Most of my t-shirt collection is from them. I wanted to wear this during the eclipse, and wanted to make sure you guys, were aware of wearing these shirts and buying Audrey's during the eclipse, so that we can all have, a little blood-sucking fun together. Feed me Seymour. Feed me all night long.
Well, speaking of t-shirts, you know what else is available?
Yes, get your own KSK t-shirt right here, live, here on the website, on the Panelcast, everywhere.
So we have these, which are, I don't know if I'm allowed to say women's shirts anymore. Baby doll shirt, I think is what it's called.
Skinny people shirts.
Right, and then we also have unisex shirts. Our shirts go up to 6X for the unisex. And we also have hats.
For the cricket smile on all of us.
This is the
or for British people who hate dentists.
These are the store hats, and then we have Crooked Smile art ones, which support the customization classes. So those are available on our website, and if you just contact us, we can get them out to you too.
You'll notice that one is a...
Speaking of shilling, we also have pint glasses and shot glasses.
You'll notice that one of the hats were a trucker cap, and the other one was a flex fit, right?
The trucker hat, and then, yes, the other one's a flex fit.
Yeah, so you have to be sure. What sizes do you carry of the flex fit?
The flex fit are large and extra large. Okay. I've actually only got a few left of these. These were from when I first started the art project, and they actually sold very quickly. So, but the trucker hats for supporting the store, we have a lot.
Because we don't have any truckers that apparently watch us.
Right. So that's our shilling for the moment.
Right. Getting truckers. So here I am promoting other businesses.
I like to eat. And
barbecue, maybe? And some beer?
Beer and barbecue. I like to be able to afford this stuff. And, support helps in that. So, hey, speaking of which, don't you have a website?
Sometimes.
Does it work?
Occasionally.
What's the address?
Well, that's kind of personal. I don't want people showing up my doorstep.
No, the website address.
Oh, website. Oh, I don't remember. ForbiddenPanel.com. Go there now, and you'll see my latest art creation that I did in collaboration with Joel Katz of Fictional Studios. I did the words. The words came to me one night, and I regurgitated them onto, digital form. And I sent them over to Joel, and he drew a picture to go with them. So head on over to ForbiddenPanel.com right now to check it out. We will have prints available at the store soon so that you can purchase them and stick them on your walls and creep out all your friends.
And of course, I'm available. My work is available. Custom figures will be up very soon. We'll be selling those as well as some of my prints. I actually used to do art for Forbidden Panel at www.crookedsmilecollectibles.com.
With K's.
With K's instead of C's.
Right.
The links will be they're in the bio, as well as the web pages will be
like around.
It'll be somewhere,
everywhere around. Probably in our tattoos somewhere, but we can't figure it out.
So that's enough shilling. Let's get on with the show.
Do that again, please. I need to freeze frame that and put that over my toilet.
That should be the thumbnail. So what are we talking about today, AJ?
We had a badly choreographed group viewing of a movie this past weekend.
Oh yeah, it was horribly choreographed.
But it was a sneak. We got an opportunity of seeing a sneak peek of a movie that's coming out this Thursday, and we had a chance to see it for free. So not only before anybody else got to see it, but gratis, which is probably the best way to see a film.
Free is amazing.
And that film was the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, put out by none other than Mr. Guy Ritchie. I am a huge fan of Mr. Guy Ritchie.
I love Guy Ritchie movies.
I pretty much, every film he's put out I loved. Especially the last one I saw and enjoyed was The Gentleman, which is now a series on Netflix, which I won't watch. Right.
I didn't know that.
Only because the movie was so great. I didn't want to see it broken up into... I didn't see how they would... I thought them breaking it up into a TV series would kind of ruin the specialness that was behind the movie and what made the movie great.
Well, that's the thing about Guy Ritchie movies, and if he's not directing it, it's not going to have the same feel.
Right.
But the great thing about Guy Ritchie movies, and it's very similar to the way Tarantino tells stories in movies, where each character has its own story going on in the movie, and then they come together seamlessly.
Right.
Other people do it where you have separate tales going on, but it doesn't come together as seamlessly.
And half the time they come together, as you said, seamlessly, but in a way with such style and panache that you're just like, man, that's smooth.
Yeah.
Man, he did a good job, and you get that you kind of get that with this film. Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is basically a story of how Winston Churchill finds out some shady stuff. Hitler's pulling off some shady stuff back in the day, and he decides to get together.
Hitler pulled off shady stuff? No.
It's a secret.
Yeah, that's a spoiler, apparently.
That's even Hitler didn't know that stuff, all right? And he decides to get together a group of guys that can also pull off some shady stuff, and to prevent, to help with get the Americans to join in the war.
It's basically, without throwing any spoilers out there, it's an origin story of Black Ops is the best way to say it. Kind
of like the beginning of MI6, SAS type stuff,
And it's done, like all the actors do an amazing job.
But yeah, it's done in Guy Ritchie style.
Yeah.
Which means that like you're going to see actors in unconventional ways that they normally star in.
And the amazing thing is, I'm a huge Henry Cavill fan, but this might be my favorite role he's ever been in. Just the way he attacks this character, it's first of all, it's something completely different than anything he's ever played.
Right. That I've seen.
Yeah, that I've ever seen. I mean, there might be a lot of stuff that I'm not really aware of, but he was amazing. He, to me, stole the show.
Right. Well, I think, for me personally, I thought his relationship with Alan Ritchson in the film, I thought their buddy system going back and forth, that was comedy. That was awesome for me. But I thought...
This movie shows you exactly how much of a monster that man is.
Both of them. Both.
He is so... They're both... The opening scene, which we're not going to, totally get into detail, but they're sitting there, and they just look so massive.
You're surprised the boat can hold them both.
It looks like a superhero movie, honestly.
So I have this film theory, where if you go into a movie where the main actor looks like crap, doesn't care about what he looks like, and he's just there for the role, then you're going to get a great movie. I'll give you an example. Copland. One of my most favorite movies out there ever. Every actor in that movie, from Janine Garofalo, Harvey Keitel, Ray Liotta, even Sylvester Stallone, threw on 40 pounds of fat.
That's one that Stallone really put himself into.
He grew. He
one of his better roles.
He got fat in that movie just to portray like the. But the movie itself is great because all they care about is the characters and the actors that they're portraying. The perfect storm. George Clooney, Wahlberg,
Mark Wahlberg,
all of them. They all look like crap in that movie because they care more about their performances than they do about how they look like. The first half of Vanilla Sky, you don't even see Tom Cruise, and that's when he puts on a better performance.
I oddly enough, going completely on a different tangent than what we're on, a little sidebar because that happens all the time. I love Vanilla Sky. So many people hate that movie. I like the movie. I just think people look at it from the wrong perspective.
Yeah, I think so too. And yeah,
maybe that's one of those movies we'll rehash as our reviews.
But coming back to this film, so Henry Cavill looks absolutely trash and loves every second of this film. He looks like he's having a ball in this role. I mean, he's just sitting there like,
Yeah, he's amazing. Everybody in this is truly amazing.
And the cast is some of the best put together cast I've seen. You got Henry Cavill, Alan Richardson, Alex Pettyfer, who I haven't seen since I am 4. Yeah, I'm number 4.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Isaac Gonzalez, gorgeous. Babs, I'm gonna destroy his last name. Olasan Mokum, who you can be seen on Star Trek, The Next Frontier. Carrie Elwes from Men in Tights, and Henry Golden, who was Snake Eyes. Rory Kinnear, who played Caliban in the Penny Dreadful series, Frankenstein monster. Yeah. Till Swigger, who's always the Russian-German bad guy in every single
and
film
is amazing in every single film he's in.
Right.
He's always a Russian, a German, and he's just one of those character actors that's just. He may be the greatest guy in the world, but to me,
he could be the sweetest guy you've ever met in your life, and he's always.
Even if he's a protagonist in the movie, I'm gonna think that he's the villain.
And he's got a torture chamber somewhere in his house, he's just gonna pull some shady crap somewhere. I just met you, and obviously you want some information off of me. That's all I know. But all-star cast, and they all did such a great job. I love the fact that they were actually in boats. Floating around, doing all this stuff, all this action, and the killing.
It's not over the top, and it's not extremely good, but it's entertaining, and in some instances a little funny,
and a little worrisome with how much fun they're having doing it.
Well, yeah, that's a Guy Ritchie trade.
Yeah, you especially Alan Richardson. I'm not going to give it away. Okay, I won't give too much away.
But it's awesome.
You thought he was vengeful and killing crazy in Reacher. Yeah, no, Reacher, he was tame.
So definitely a movie worth seeing. What's the title again?
Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. It's out this Thursday. So tomorrow, by the time you're seeing this. Go check it out in the theaters if you have a chance. Guy Ritchie. A lot of people are playing it down. They're saying that the movie is too much and not enough all at the same time, and I disagree. I think they're stupid.
I think it's a perfect movie.
I think it's a lot of fun.
It's a nice mixture of serious and fun.
And it's got a couple of surprises. Not cameos in the way of actors, but cameos in who they portray in the film.
Right.
Well, especially when you discover that this is based off of a true story. This actually all happened, and during the credits you see what happens to the characters that these actors are based off of and who they portray.
Yeah, it's definitely,
which I thought was kind of cool. It was very Band of Brothery.
Yeah, Yeah, it's definitely and it's something that I hope will continue. That's the thing with Guy Ritchie movies. I really hope that they go forward because all of them seem open ended.
All of them seem ready for a sequel, absolutely. Right. But whenever you worry that if there is a sequel. If it's not Guy Ritchie, then what's the point?
Right.
And I don't see him doing too many sequels, but it's just me.
Speaking of movies, that next month, on the 3rd, Episode 1 comes out for its 25th anniversary.
Absolutely. I'm excited. There's two retro movies coming back next month, which I'm very excited for. The first one being Episode 1, the one everybody hates, right? Everybody hates Episode 1 for one reason or the other.
Well, here's the weird thing, and here's why I wanted to bring it up today, is because kids that are around, like my son's age, around Steven's age, that's their favorite. It's Steven's favorite.
Right, because that's their first.
Right, it was actually Steven's first movie he ever saw in the theater. He was 3 years old when it came out. And there are so many...
As were we.
Well, when the original.
Yeah.
But the nostalgia... Or kids that are in their late 20s, early 30s, that's the movie that they grew up with. So there is a different appreciation than the hatred. And I think it got unjust hatred when it came out because spoiled brats our age had been waiting for so long. Nothing's going to live up to the hype when you wait that many years, no matter how great it would have been.
Right.
Are there plot holes? Yes, but every movie has plot holes. Are there some characters that aren't the greatest. I don't care what anybody says. Jar Jar Binks is hilarious.
I hate Jar Jar Binks.
He's still funny though.
I still want him to die.
It's still funny. So I understand some of the frustration. I understand some of the frustration. You know, why people our age, because we waited so long for a sequel or a prequel, technically. But I also understand the kids that was their first experience in the Star Wars universe, and a lot of them have become diehard Star Wars fans. So it keeps Star Wars alive, which is all really that matters.
Absolutely, I agree with you on that point. Look, I love Star Wars regardless. You know, it's just what it is. You know, it's part of my bloodline. You know. Anyway, I don't know what I was pointing at either. But I'm excited to see this again in the theater, though at this point I think I've seen it like 5 times in the theater. But, and I want to go see it, and I'm excited for it. And it's all about the pod race. No, for me...
Pod race in the theater is amazing. Like, it really is.
For me, it brought the first spooky moment I ever felt in a Star Wars movie, and that was Darth Maul.
Darth Maul was amazing.
And the fact that we got to have him in the store and talk with them and share those moments with them, that is forever a special moment for me in my heart.
Ray Park is, if you get the chance to see him at a signing, he's an amazing, amazing talent. He is more than gracious with everybody that comes to see him.
And he is all about the fans.
Yeah,
he is grateful for you.
He is awesome. When we had him at the store, it was that's one thing that I miss about not having the brick and mortar anymore, is not getting any of the signings anymore, which we're going to have my buddy Albert on the podcast eventually, who arranges a lot of the signings and stuff. And we'll talk about the process that he goes through, bringing people like, you know, we've had Power Rangers, we've had voice actors from video games and stuff like that. So what's the other movie that's coming out that you're excited?
Yeah, the movie that's coming out actually comes out on my birthday, which I will not tell you what date it is, but...
Your 21st birthday?
Yes. My 30th anniversary of my 21st birthday. This movie holds a lot of special meaning for me in my heart, and it's not just because I'm a fan of the line, the toy line, but because of who I went and saw the movie with. But and that's the original Transformers, the animated movie. It's the
first movie I ever cried
at. I saw this movie with our good friend Jason in junior high. We all ditched junior high to go see this film down at the Carousel Mall.
Wow.
So we skateboarded down there and we went and saw this
mall
movie.
That has been demolished.
And since then, I've just been an avid collector of the film. Jason unfortunately passed away a few years ago, and but we always have that memory, and many more.
Many more.
But
many.
He and I remained. We all remained good friends with Jason.
There was a point where he actually used to live in this room.
He had. We remained really good friends up until the day he passed away, and so. On my birthday this year, this movie's being re-released in theaters to celebrate. I believe it's the 35th or 40th anniversary of the film, release of the film, and we're all going to go see it together. And we're excited for that. Transformers, the animated movie, it was, I don't know, at the time when it came out, it was stupendous. It was Star Wars for us when it came out. I mean,
it was more adult than the cartoon that we had grown up with.
Right,
and you know, it was aging with us. So it was something that we were excited to see, and like I said, it brought out some emotions. Had one of the best soundtracks in movies. You know,
still, I listen to a lot of the songs still. Every now and then I'll toss on the old soundtrack.
If you just look at the voice actors that were in it, I mean, it was some of the voice actors that were in it were
Orson Welles was in the movie.
Orson Welles,
and he wasn't saying Rosebud.
Yeah,
he played Unicron, and Leonard Nimoy. Spock was in the movie as well.
Yeah.
And so was Judd Nelson, who at the time was coming off his Breakfast Club momentum, you know. And so to see all these big name stars in there, Richard Stack, who was still dealing with unsolved mysteries, you know, he did a voice on there too. So yeah, it was star-studded. And real quick before I go anywhere, I wanted to share this with everybody. That is me and Ray Park at the signing. So.
Yeah, Ray Park was actually one of the coolest people.
Yeah.
He was there for about 13 or 14 hours. Actually, we didn't stay till the end. We actually left early because we went to go see Mick Foley's show.
Yeah.
So we left probably about 2 hours, but he stayed until every single person in line.
And he gave away more than he made.
Absolutely. Awesome. If you get a chance to see Ray Park, 100%. Amazing.
Sorry for the sidetrack, but I was going through the phone looking for the picture. But anyway, so Transformers, the animated movie, is being re-released May 15th, 18th, and 19th. So if you get a chance, go relive your childhood with us. Go see the movie somewhere. Or if you've never seen it
in the theater, go see it in the theater.
You know, and if you got kids and you're introducing to the Transformers toy line, you know, the G1 versions, and you want them to show them Devastator and all that stuff, where that all came from.
Galvatron.
Unicron, Galvatron, all that. The introduction of Cyclonus. All that, you know. If you want to show them what a really, truly bad comedy is, take them to go see this movie. I'm sure they'll enjoy it. If you haven't already showed them on, you know, TV or what have you, showing them on the big screen will mean a lot more to them than anything else. It means a lot more to me. Yeah. And that's all that matters on this podcast.
What matters to you?
That's right.
Well, speaking of movies, we were also going to take just a small moment to speak about these popcorn buckets that are coming out. we have to mention them. These popcorn buckets that are coming out for, what is it, Deadpool versus Wolverine, or Deadpool and Wolverine? Now, I'm not sure exactly what the 100% title is, but these popcorn buckets are amazing and ridiculous.
Whereas you wanted to take the Dune bucket home with you, or even enjoy it during the movie, these ones are kind of, you know, questionable.
They intentionally said they were going to do something a little offensive.
A little?
Well.
More inviting than offensive.
And, you know, it goes right along with the rated R movie. So, it's something they intentionally did. I think it's actually pretty hilarious. I can't wait for the movie. Every teaser I've seen looks awesome. So,
I'm trying to stay away from all the teasers and stuff. But here's another mock-up of what they wanted it to look like. That would be creepier than anything. I have now retracted and am a turtle head because of it.
So moving on.
Will you butter my popcorn that night?
No. Moving on. One other thing that I definitely wanted to bring up. We're psychic.
Yes. But you know this.
Yeah, I did know this.
You know how you knew this? Because
we're psychic.
Right, because you predicted it beforehand.
I did predict the future.
That we were psychic.
I did predict the future last week on this podcast. Well, hopefully. I was very hopeful about a turn. If anybody didn't see Monday Night Raw.
We're talking about the after Wrestlemania fallout now.
Yes.
Going to the wrestling side of the podcast.
The Raw after Mania wasn't as eventful as this week's Raw. Or it was, yeah, right. So this was more. I mean, SmackDown was very eventful. You had the appearance of Tama Tonga at SmackDown, turning on
Jey Uso.
On Jay, no Jimmy.
And Uso.
Yeah, and so Solo and Tama Tonga. And there's it's like, where does the bloodline go next? But this week on Raw, you had a couple things. You had Rhea relinquishing the title due to injury, which was just horrible. It's just, I mean, there's nothing. She is on such a great run, and for whatever reason, like, people are speculating this and that. They're saying it's an injury. That's what I'm going with. We prefer to keep it storyline here, regardless. If there's other reasons, that's none of our business unless it's stated by them. You know.
Everything I've heard of states it's a legit injury.
Yeah.
She had damaged something in her knee during a match, and she has to shoulder, and she has to go in and have some surgery or something.
Shoulder surgery
or rehab,
is something that will take 9 months to a year.
Yeah,
so.
Trust me, I've had soldiers. Soldier.
Yeah.
I've had soldiers. Yeah, blah blah.
Well, you
blah,
were
blah.
a soldier, so
right. So that counts. So I had to have it. I had to have it soldered, and surgery on my shoulder. So I've had it done. So I know rehab can be a pain.
Right. And then you had, of course, you had Gable taking on Sami Zayn, which we knew was going to go the whole Rocky 3. And after the match, they kind of had a moment where they, Gable was really upset, but they still kind of shook hands. And then, boom, Gable turned on him, which I predicted was going to happen. Now, hopefully, we get a nice run of Gable as a heel. And this is a long program. I'd be really happy to see that. So, and then with that, I don't know what that means for the rest of the Alpha Academy, but I'd like to see Gable put with the Creed brothers and have them be heels and just have some straight, hard-hitting wrestling, a faction that does that, which is what the Hurt Business used to do. And you're talking legitimate athletes, legitimate Olympic wrestlers that could go in there and just really throw down. And there's a reason. I mean, you could bring Kurt Angle in as an advisor or something like that. Like, there's a lot of ways.
But then you'd have to bring Shelton Benjamin back, wouldn't you?
You could do that too. I mean, there's a lot of ways to go with this, and I'm very excited to see what's going to happen on that.
I don't watch the WWE, but on TikTok it's been all over the place about Rhea Ripley having to relinquish titles, about Gable going heel and everything after Zayn had successfully cleanly pinned him in the ring. So I like seeing that part. I like hearing about it rather than watching it. I can only watch one wrestling company a week.
Well, there is.
But A&W, but the Root Beer Company,
right,
that's wrestling right now. They've been very foamy, and
well, oddly enough, something else that happened at the New Japan, was it a Riot show in Chicago?
Right.
Jon Moxley became the New Japan
champion,
heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
So, and an amazing match, really good. But the one thing that happened, and I was really shocked about, is something I didn't foresee happening. But I think when AEW released that footage, that backstage footage, which I thought was a horrible idea. I thought it made them look bad to show it. But what it's doing is making people legitimately hate Jack Perry. When he wrestled in Chicago this week, they were booing him, they were chanting at him. Like, it did something he wasn't able to do in AEW. It turned him into a hateful heel. And he's owning it, and he's actually doing really good with it.
And he's working that scapegoat angle that,
right,
that he's doing right now.
He came out with the Chicago flag draped over his shoulders, turned around, dropped it, had Cry Me a River written on his leather jacket. During the match, they were chanting "Cry Me, oh, cry me a river," and it was like it made him a legit heel, something he wasn't able to do on his own. So, I mean, that may have been the reason, because when the Bucks were talking about the footage, they did call him the scapegoat.
Right.
So maybe that was the purpose, was to help turn him heel,
and
bring him back to AEW.
And they had been saying, like, when they had come out to the ring a couple of times, one time Nick or Matt had said directly to the camera,
Nicholas and Matthew,
"I love what you're doing, scapegoat. Keep it up." Yeah. And not to the mic, but they said it loud enough so that everybody was able to hear it. And so they are obviously big fans of what he's doing over there. And
they're all friends. So I think they did what that does is help.
They were just getting his back.
It helps turn him into a legitimate heel, something he wasn't able to do. Like, he wasn't that great of a heel when he was in AEW. I think this helps, level him up as a heel. And I still think it's a bad look to air that footage. It's kind of petty and childish in my mind. But if the end goal was to make Jack Perry into a legit heel, then I can't argue with it because it's working.
And in a bit of a retraction as well, we had thought that when we were watching it, Tony Schiavone in the background was like looking away and kind of looking disgusted about all of it. But he released a statement stating that he was not, in fact, disgusted about the footage being shown. He was just disgusted about everything that was going on in general, and his dog had just died, and he was pretty depressed about that.
Yeah, he was dealing with personal issues.
Right, so it had nothing to do with.
Well, I mean, he's one of the main producers of the show, so I imagine if he was that against it, it might
wouldn't
not
have happened.
Seen air.
Right. So we were wrong in that aspect, thinking he was upset about it. So sorry, Tony.
Yeah, I am curious to see where this is going. Jungle Boy or Jack Perry is doing really, really well in New Japan. He's one of the biggest heels, and if he can make a name for himself there, and then bring it to AEW, I think it'll be amazing. So
absolutely, and I'd be excited to see him come back.
I mean, he's always been a solid talent, and now he's maturing more, and it's
as a solo talent.
Right.
For so long, it had been like the three of those guys,
right,
running around everywhere. Him and what's his name?
Luchasaurus or Kill
Switch.
Switch,
and Marco
Stunt or Christian Cage, either one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was something that I caught me by surprise. I did not expect for that reaction, because I watched the show just to see the Moxley match, and then I had heard rumblings about Perry, and then I watched it, and yeah, he really got over as a heel. So
good for him. I hope it works out for him, because I loved him as a character, whatever character he is. I love his story.
He's got all the upward potential in the world. So
I hate that he's dating Anna Jay, but whatever. I
think most people hate that he's dating Anna Jay.
Yeah. Well, she was walking around pimping his wares everywhere.
She did post the scapegoat, her with the scapegoat hat, and that's another one that's actually starting to, now that she's getting more. She was doing really good, and then she got that concussion, and I think it was like a shoulder injury.
Right.
So she was out for a while.
Well, also the fact that Tay Mello got pregnant and was out, because she was able to feed off of her really well. But once the injury happened and Tay Mello got pregnant and went off camera, she kind of went nowhere.
Yeah.
And then she left the Dark Order and joined up with Chris Jericho.
And then she was just a prop.
Yeah. But then she went to ROW and she refined her wrestling, and she's getting better. ROW, whatever. Tiger style.
Yeah. She's coming into her own in ROH. She's putting on some solid matches,
and she managed to do the one thing that no woman in any of those companies is able to do. She showed up on live TV on all 3 episodes this week, and no other woman in that company has been able to do that. And so, props to her, and she's getting noticed because of it.
I'm glad that the women are starting to get a little more time, because that's been my one thing. Is there's a lot of talent and a lot of potential in their women's division. They just don't get any time. You don't get any better if you're not performing in the ring.
Absolutely.
So, and then television time, that's when you get you're talking on the mic, performing in front of a crowd, performing in front of cameras. That's how you get seasoned. You can practice all you want. It's not the same as a live crowd.
And it's more than just a bad attitude and a fat ass.
I mean,
that's what her shirt says.
It is what her shirt says.
I'm just saying what her shirt says. Speaking of time, it looks like we about time to wrap up here, sir.
Yeah, it is. So, how about we leave them with a question, and then next week we answer it?
No.
Too bad.
Okay. So we were thinking really hard about this question, all of 3 seconds.
Just 5.
I looked over and I saw the answer. What is your favorite version of the Hulk? And it can only be in comic books, not the film versions, not film adaptation not the comic book adaptation of the film, but actual comic book version.
And there's a bunch of truths. I mean, you have Mr. Fix-It, you have
Mr. Majestic.
Mr. Majestic, you have the Gladiator Hulk, World War Hulk, which are basically the same.
Right.
You have the Red Hulk.
Yeah, the original Hulk that turned when the full moon came out.
You have so many. You have, what was the Totally Awesome Hulk? Is that what it was called? Yeah. The douchebag Hulk, as I refer to him. But you have so
that was when it was Amadeus Cho.
Right. Yeah. And then you have the, would we consider Scar part of that too?
No. I was just Bruce Banner's version. We'll say every version of Bruce Banner. Isn't. Then that wouldn't be awesome.
Okay,
so just any version of Bruce Banner's Hulk.
So we will have our answer to that next week.
You see us starting to already go off on a tangent. We have to stop ourselves.
Exactly. So if you feel free to comment once again, follow, subscribe, like. If you're listening to us on Spotify, please rate. It helps us get the name out there. Once again, we are struggling businesses. We are, trying to keep our name out there, trying to keep afloat, trying to get product out to everybody.
He says while drinking a $5 Starbucks.
I'm drinking Kool-Aid.
Starbucks. Why did I have to pay $5 for an iced tea?
I thought it was like $8 now.
It would be $8 if I added sweetener.
So that's the panel cast for this week. For myself, Richard of KS Collectibles, and AJ, who's apparently dropped back into a coma. Stay classy, everyone. See you next week.
Call me Anna.
I thought it was Dakota.